Wardrobe for the Bass Tour Anglers podcast is provided by Koppel Outfitters. Go have an adventure. Visit them online at www.koppeloutfitters.com and on social media at Koppel Outfitters. Well, get those life vests zipped and clipped, strap down those rods, and stash away those tackle bags because we are going fishing. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bass Tour Anglers podcast. Thanks for being with us. If you're new here, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a comment if you're so inclined. You know our guests today from their cameo appearances in the YouTube content created by their husbands who both compete on the BASS Elite Series. But it will be their famous husbands who are making cameo appearances in their brand new YouTube series, Real RV Wives. Randi Gleason, wife of BASS Elite Series Pro Darold Gleason, and Leann Swindle, wife of BASS Elite Series Pro Gerald Swindle, have combined their efforts to produce a new series that is geared to give you a unique behind-the-scenes look at life on the road, particularly life on the road in an RV. Randi and Leann, welcome to the Bass Tour Anglers podcast. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Listen, this is an angle I've wanted to cover for a long time. Fans of this sport, if you're a fan of the sport, I mean, you just cannot get enough of this stuff. And I'm sitting here in California. I've had the tracker on and it's since what, 4 a.m. my time, I think. And it's just we just can't get enough of this stuff. So to have you guys on to be able to give us a little outside of the normal information is really, really cool.
Yes, sir.
You guys, it's clearly not just a fishing trip. It's a business trip. I'm fascinated by the role that you play in the business of fishing. What could you tell us about that?
When I read that question, I say this very often. I wear many hats. I don't have a fancy title. I've been trying to come up with a fancy title for myself, but I can't because it covers so many roles. Lots and lots of hats. Something as simple as cook, all the way down to videographer and counselor if we've got a rough tournament going. So I mean from travel agent. So basically, I feel like I dabble in every aspect of our business other than going out and catching the fish. And I don't work on electronics and things like that. So that's really what my role is.
Yeah, I think that basically you're going to find for most of the wives, especially, even more especially I think during tournament weeks or events, is we want to do everything possible except fishing and everything that's needed to get ready to fish, tackle and all that. Like, we want to literally carry any weight and do everything we can so that their number one focus can be on what their job is. And I think that we all you'll notice that with all the wives, like they are juggling so many things because it feels like the ultimate labor of love. To me, it's just love for your spouse in action, doing anything you can to take any stressor off their plate so they can focus on what matters for the day, for the week.
To me, you're business managers is what you are, because I don't know how anybody could do a pro tour at the level that these pro tours have become without having not just a person, but an entire staff.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine probably what happens a lot of the times is you're the entire staff. Are you involved in the launching of the boat in the morning, or someone else doing that?
For me, I do that. Gerald has gotten really accustomed to that. I had to miss the very first tournament of the year. It was a lot to do with puppies at home, but COVID, he was staying in a house with a lot of people. So we just decided that particular event I would stay at home. So he had to do all of that by himself. I will just tell you, he's gotten really used to me being out here too. That's a luxury for him now. Just he doesn't have to worry about going and parking the rig. So yeah, I do that at every event.
I personally do not launch the votes in the morning. We have a different schedule because for some reason Darold likes to be first to launch.
I can vouch for that because we're staying right beside them, and he was gone like at 5:30 yesterday morning, and we're looking at the clock like
they're probably like having their first coffee at that time. So he actually goes in the morning. It's just part of his mental process of just being early and getting prepared and not having an extra stressor. And then I come, about 30 minutes later and do videography work and all that we have to do.
So you guys are at Lake Champlain for the BASS Elite Series event that's taking place this week. Why don't you take us through from the time that alarm clock goes off in the morning to the end of the day, what kinds of things you do? Now, obviously right now they're out fishing, and so you do interviews and things like that, but what does a day look like?
Randy, you start on that one.
Okay, I think everyone's is similar, but everyone kind of has different things they're juggling. And I think one of the biggest keys is like you think, oh, they're on the water for 8 hours, so like you must have a lot of downtime. And that really doesn't exist in this RV. Like it's kind of like crazy town. And if you really don't schedule your day, you'll literally spin like a top and you won't get the things done that you have to get done. So we get up about 4 a.m. and all that has to be done to get coffeeed and showered and breakfast and lunches, everything packed, all the GoPros, SD cards, just all those things, that little bitty things that if you're not writing things down, you will totally forget. He leaves out, I start medical treatments. I have a medical condition, so I start treatments and then I catch up to him, launch. And then yesterday, we actually snuck in breakfast. Some of the wives after launch, we snuck in a quick breakfast at a local place. But then I come back and transition into work modes because then I work my business while he's on the water. Sometimes I'll be downloading clips from that morning's launch to have, on the hard drive. But then I schedule my work in the middle of laundry, groceries, making sure we have dinner when he gets off the water because we're out there. So when we come back, we've got to have, be ready to rock and roll. Just all the things that everyone else typically does. And then we really have a timer that goes off till about 2:00. And at 2:00, I've got to have everything wrapped up with my work. So to be back out there and do it all over again for the weigh-in, come in, tackle, eat, it's just a whirlwind day. It really is.
You got to get these kids out the door for school, basically.
Yes, and make sure they didn't forget their lunch, because that has happened before.
That would be bad.
Gerald forgot to make his lunch in Florida. The first event that I didn't go to, he literally forgot. And I said, well, baby, why didn't you go by the store and just get something? He said, well, I thought if I was dumb enough to forget to make my lunch, I'm just going to have to suffer through it.
I think I saw a YouTube video and I think I remember seeing some comments like that. I think I watched that one.
I'm the same way. My routine is it's like Groundhog's Day every day. Get up, fix coffee, fix breakfast, fix lunch, jump in the truck, make sure that he hasn't forgotten anything, lunch. And so we're the same thing over here too. But I feel like this week has flown by. I don't know where the time has gone. I'm a list maker just like Randy, and I try to set time limits on what I do, but for whatever reason, this week has just flown by. I look up and it's Friday. We've been on the road for 2 weeks and I'm thinking this trip has just flown by, and this is the, end of the season for us. So
yeah, a lot different than last year for sure.
Yes.
What to me, the intimidating thing about a tour like this are the logistics. I don't know if I could plan 2 weeks ahead, much less a month and a half ahead. What are the logistics of an event like this? I mean, you don't just throw your stuff in the car and go. There's.
Oh no.
What's that like?
I started making a packing list, I think 2 weeks before we left, just so I wouldn't forget anything. And as you mentioned, last year was a nightmare because schedules being rearranged, reservations having to be changed, then changed back. And we had some great RV parks that worked with us. This year has been a little easier, but for us, it's 3 weeks on the road. We have to get home quickly because we have to be at ICAST. So
Yeah.
everything, it's like I have it all laid out and hope that it all works out. But you always have that hiccup to where it's like, okay, this didn't work out, or you fished an extra day, so it's constant juggle. I like to have a game plan, but you just have to know that that plan is typically going to change a little bit. And you just have to roll with it.
Yeah, definitely have to be flexible. So for those of us that are like very type A and love to plan everything out to a T, like we really don't know on our trek home for 3 days, we don't have one reservation because we don't know what day it'll be,
Yeah.
and you're like just hoping that, you could just be flexible along the way, but, and I think also it learns to give you a lot of faith that it's all going to work out. Just have faith and, just control the controllables that you can, but then just roll with it.
Sure.
One of the things that I've learned is if you don't plan ahead, you don't have a lot of choices in lodging, and you can end up in some pretty bad places.
This is true. This is absolutely true. A lot of the people out here that camp, they have generators. And so they'll just pull into a Walmart or a Bass Pro Shop or a Cracker Barrel. We've never done that. We like to have an RV spot. Our 2-day drive here, we had a spot reserved, but I'm like, Randy, going back, we don't, because you don't know what day you're headed back home. So, but you are correct about that. Your choices can get slim.
You mentioned ICAST a minute ago. What do you guys play any role in that business part of the game? I mean, I think I would want my wife involved because she's smarter than I am. And I just wonder, what role you guys play in that. Do you have anything to do with sponsors at all? I mean, will you have a role at ICAST?
I do. I don't get out of going to ICAST. I've tried. I can't get out of it for whatever reason. I have some great friends that go and they like to go and, have fun. And Gerald told me one time, he said, "Hey baby, we'll go have fun together when we're not working." He said, "But I need you here with me." And a lot of that is just because he depends on me to tell him where he's supposed to be and when he's supposed to be there. So yes, and I do strive to have a great relationship with all of our sponsors so that because I'm easier to get in touch with than he is.
Mm-hmm.
If they try to call him and he doesn't answer for whatever reason, they know that they can call me. And I started that out as soon as we were married, and I really didn't know any different. I just assumed that that's the way it was supposed to be, and it's really worked well for us. So I do feel like that I have a great relationship with every single company that helps us along the way.
I'll actually be at a work conference during ICAST, but I think one of the things too that like oftentimes like for Darold, his guide business is something that still is also in works. And so, trying to field those emails during tournament weeks and things like that. So it's not something he has to process and think about when he gets in at 8:00 at night. So just anything like that you can do that, more than likely what they would want to do is just something that you can be just to be helpful.
And this is a question I really wanted to ask because I know there's rules in my household about this, but what are the ground rules for being grumpy after a bad day on the water? I mean, are there any ground rules, or do we just stay away?
Oh, yeah.
What's the deal?
Well, our ground rules are 24 hours. If you have a bad tournament, you're disappointed in your fishing, you lost big ones, you couldn't figure out, we have a 24-hour rule. After that, you suck it up, Buttercup. He has an etch and sketch in his little boat, a little bitty tiny one, and that's his mental reminder that you shake it off and you look forward to the next one. So I give him that 24 hours to be mad and huff and puff and grumble and complain, and then after that, we don't, and that we agree on that rule. It's not my rule. That's our family rule.
Yeah, I think one thing too that everyone probably needs to learn in this industry is the ability to forget fast. And that if you hang on to defeats, it will eat you alive. And so Darold calls it windshield time. And basically, thankfully, we're in 2 separate vehicles traveling right now. And so he has his windshield time, his quiet time to really, process and think and get over it. And then forget fast, because you don't have a lot of turnaround time, before you start a new event. You can't carry that baggage to a new event.
Sure.
It's just a tough day at work is what it is. And they're going to come and they're going to go. We're talking to Leann Swindle and Randi Gleason. They are the real REEL RV wives. And let's talk about that now. Real RV Wives is a new YouTube channel that you guys just both started. I think I might have seen this on either Darold or Gerald's Instagram, and I jumped over there real fast. And you've got one show that you put up. The episode looks professionally edited. It looks really well done. It looks really well planned out. And I'm wondering, are you guys doing the production on this yourself, or do you have somebody helping you?
Take it away, Randi.
We're totally doing. Listen, you learn a few things when you do all this videography work for the men. Like you learn, you develop skills. Like I did not know any of how to operate a camera before this. And so, along the way you learn things. So we're doing it to have some fun. We're doing everything from the recording. We got GoPros of our husbands we steal away and their camera work. And it's so funny. We're running back and forth to campers, like checking the TikTok to see like, hey, is this okay? Is this okay? How do you do this transition? Like totally. It's just something that we're doing.
Randi does a great job. She's not taking enough credit. That production is all hers. She is teaching me. We actually hire someone to do our video edits. And because I'm extremely novice with it, when you look at Randi's production there, it does look professionally made. She did an excellent job, and I am excited for her to carry me along and teach me a little bit here and there.
Well, listen, take it from an old guy. I mean, I'm an old guy, but in doing this podcast thing, I used to do radio. It was so easy, but doing this, and if you rely on others to do your editing, then you rely on their time schedules. And
absolutely,
so I've had to learn this,
yes.
And my cuts are nothing compared to yours. And I've been doing this for a little bit. So that's really, really impressive. It's not really just a show. It's more of a campaign. You got YouTube content, social media content, public relations, like we're doing right now. What made you guys decide to do this?
Gerald has actually been trying to get me to do something similar for about 2 years. He wanted me just to focus on the review aspect of it, though, like, review gas stops. What's easy on, easy off for the boats and the campers, rest areas. He wanted me to review campgrounds. And then talking with Randi and Darold, she was she was excited about it. And then when we started planning it, the fun part started. So we're like, okay, we can do both. We can do the review part that would be helpful to people traveling. For instance, I had a message yesterday on my private Instagram, and it's a family coming for a fishing trip, and they are asking me what RV park that they should check into. So I think it'll be helpful, informative, but also the fun part of it, to make people laugh.
I'm new to RVing. It's our second season of RVing. And so when we first started, Keith, it was, literally, I'm so glad I captured the video. We've not done anything with it, of us pulling out of the parking lot of the RV place. When I tell you, we were laughing and like hysteria, like we don't even know how to get on the highway. Like,
who's going to drive this thing?
Like, they literally like hooked it up to the truck and they're like, there you go. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like what? And so once we got on the interstate, my husband pulled over in a safe place. And he said, okay, now we're on a straight stretch. I want you to drive and learn how to drive. And it was just that moment where, I know so many people are entering into, camping and RVing. And if they were like I was, then you look for someone who's going to give you honest reviews and who will help you. I didn't even know what a black or gray tank was. Like that was that much of a newbie. And so, people like Leann, I know like Tiffany, when we started the season, they were like, here's the parks we're staying at. Just people that will be helpful. And I YouTubed and Googled and watched everything I could. So we are excited to be able to put some content out there for people who maybe are new to camping that were like me, that were totally clueless.
Oh, that's really a neat thing. Now, the name Real RV Wives, it kind of plays on the Real Housewives thing that we see on television. I'm getting the vibe here that we're not going in that direction, and I think that's okay.
That was, I'm going to say that was not the direction that we wanted to go in. I really was stuck for years on Real Wives, REEL Wives.
Yeah.
But there is already a business, a Instagram, a YouTube. There's already a company who has, they have that name trademarked, and it actually deals with military, army, like real for their business. So we knew we couldn't do that. So we, Lordy mercy, I think we come up with like 50 names. We were sharing a note on our iPhones, and we were like, okay, what about this? Or what about this? So this is the one that we settled on, but we wanted to keep the fishing aspect, which is real. We wanted to keep it, we wanted to appeal to the female, ladies, but we also wanted to include RVing, because that's really what the content is going to be about, us RVing.
Very good. I mean, there's got to be plans, and you mentioned that, going back to iCast and your connection there, to pursue corporate sponsorship. I mean, Leann, you were wearing a coffee company shirt the other day.
Did you notice that?
I absolutely did. I said, well, look at that. Look at that. They're already starting to work this angle here. But it should be done. It absolutely should be done. And I think the boys ought to be careful, because I think there's major potential there. They may be going to your events at some point.
Well, we made a huge joke the other night. We have a lot of responsibilities with their businesses and with our own. And the other night, one of our TikToks hit like 800,000 views in a day. And listen, we were like, it was so funny because it started like 125,000. We'd run back and forth telling each other like the numbers. And I was like, that's it. We're done, boys. We are TikTok famous. We are done. Get you a new manager, just teasing, because, it's really nothing, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, I think that, we're just having fun with this. We want to be helpful. We want to show a glimpse of what this is like. And, if someone wants to come along for the journey with us, that would be funny. But
Yeti.
Yeah, absolutely. The product
placement. She has been wanting her Traeger grill. So if you're listening,
I am getting ready to purchase a Traeger tailgater, and I'm like, we really need to get some followers, because I'm going to hit them up for a discount.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I would think that recipes would be right up, right in line with what you guys are doing. And I mean, that's just the thing. That's a natural connection. And the time to buy stock is when it's at its lowest price.
Sure. Right.
And I would imagine for you guys right now, this is about as low as your price is going to ever be, because it's only going up. That's the pitch you want to make to these guys. Say, hey, look,
I like that.
Did you buy Amazon when it was $17 a share? Well, you could have. Here we are.
I love that.
Well, we love that you have faith in our abilities to keep sharing the journey. We love that. That's so fun.
Well, it's just one of these things where, I want so much bass fishing information. I want so much. And then when there's no tournament, I still want more. So where can I find it? Well, there's a great opportunity here. And I think it's kind of neat. Koppel Outfitters wants you to go have an adventure now. Koppel Outfitters specializes in adventure gear. Anything you need for getting outside, Koppel Outfitters has it, and more. Go have an adventure now. We're talking to Leann Swindle and Randi Gleason, and they are the real RV wives. I was going to ask you, do most of the RV families tend to stay in the same resort or campground? Is it kind of your mobile neighborhood, or is that how it works?
It is, for the most part. Every now and again, you'll come to a town that has multiple places. And so you'll have one or two that, for whatever reason, they like another park. But for this area, I honestly don't know of any angler staying at a different place. And so in addition to that, the Toyota series has a tournament starting next week. So they're starting to trickle in. So we've got friends who now fish MLF or who have retired, and they're going to be here. So it's going to be almost like getting the gang all back together. So
it would seem that if you had all the tour anglers that stay in RV park, you could be their man. You could be the manager. You could go to the resort and say, "Hey, we're bringing this many people in. Where's our discount?"
Well, hey, you know what? That might not be a bad idea either. To think about that.
Full of ideas, this guy.
But I'm not sure if I can take on much more managing right now, though. Managing my husband, whoo, Lordy, it's a full-time job.
And Keith, honestly, we feel so lucky to find spots right now. I mean, the RV market is booming. Camping is booming. It's the prime season, especially up here in the north. Like, this is their season to camp. So we're just grateful to get a spot right now. The stress that's involved with trying to secure an RV spot that can accommodate trucks and boats and our schedule. I mean, we're just right now so grateful when we can land in a park that can actually accommodate us.
Good point.
This is true.
Good point. True. All right. What is the most interesting thing that you've learned while traveling via RV? I just got to believe that you see a part of the country that most of us don't see. Lots of small towns, things like that. The most important thing, or story, or whatever that stands out.
You know, that question stumped me, and I've been thinking about it. What you got, Randy?
Well, don't use a pee funnel.
You didn't go there. Oh, you didn't go there.
I didn't read that question. I just scanned. I was like, no. But seriously, I mean, I think there's a lot of interesting things. I think, you know, road safety is something that I've never even, like, before RVing and being on the road this many miles a year. You know, road safety and people not texting and driving and things like that. I mean, that needs to really be something that
there's an episode right there. Really,
I feel like the whole time you're pulling this rig and you've got 40 feet behind you and you're just literally can never let your guard down, because there's a lot of people that, you know, aren't understanding that you're in a 70-mile-an-hour bullet. Like, please be careful. And so, I mean, you know, there's so many amazing things that we've learned along the way. And traveling and beautiful places. Like, I've never been to New York. This is our first time here. I know that Leann has been here several times, and I was just shocked at how beautiful this part of the country is. Like, I had no idea. But there's a lot, but definitely bathroom breaks and taking advantage of those are things that are very important.
You know, I don't think we ever realized before we started this how much we would enjoy it. It's addictive. Once you start camping, for us, on the tournament trail, and then let's just say something happens and you need to ride together and you have to go back to a hotel. I'm not dinging hotels or anything, but it feels so different, because when you're in your camper, it's so familiar. Basically, it's your dirt, it's your bed. You're familiar with everything, and so you rest so much better. So I really didn't realize when we started it just how addictive it would be. That's something that has really made an impact on us. If Gerald told me today, hey, we can't camp anymore, don't tell him, but I would have to really think hard on what my next step was going to be.
And it's so addicting in that, like, with a lot of the wives, you'll find them, even if you have off moment or downtime, you know, a lot of times you're going to find us on our phone looking at RV stuff, researching RV stuff, looking at new models. Like, it's just something that's so fascinating because it's so accommodating in your life, you know, when we're on the road.
Well, I tell you what, I think don't use a pee funnel might be the headline on my Instagram post for this.
Oh, please do not.
You're going to have to get the story behind that, though. Your imagination probably can't be any worse than the truth.
No, but
that's probably true.
It's great advice, though. It's great advice, you know. Find a restroom.
That is not an Amazon purchase that we are going to recommend.
No, but we do have a recommendation as an alternative. So that's going to be a reel. We're going to do a reel for that one.
Well, look, I appreciate you guys being with us today. I look forward to watching and seeing how Real RV Wives evolves. I think it's going to be something special. You guys are good sports for doing this. Let's stay in touch, and I'm sure we'll want to bring you on again at some point, because I'm sure there's going to be more information that we're going to want to know. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. All right. We'll see you. Thank you.